Am I the rude one for doing the absolute minimum chores after my girlfriend parents implied I wasn't a man and she agreed with them? Sorry if some of sentences feel awkward. I am not a native speaker. I work from home and my job is relaxed and doesn't require me to be glued to the screen. My girlfriend works in a stressful customer service job and most of her days are terrible. In the 2 years we've been living together, I do practically all the chores around the house and I try to treat her to like a queen when she comes back home. However, the one thing I can't do is be a handyman no matter how easy the task is. A few months ago, the bathroom door hinges needed replacing, so I called a friend to help. Last week during lunch with her parents, I asked her dad about the project he was working on. He does woodworking as a hobby. He showed me the progress on his phone and suggested I should help him with the last touches. My girlfriend told him that I can't even replace door hinges, let alone help with that. Her mom said that every man should know how to fix things around the house and her husband agreed with her. The remainder of lunch was very awkward. It was like they were my real parents and were disappointed of me for being a huge failure. After we left, I told my girlfriend that I didn't expect their reaction. Instead of taking my side, she said that they were right because it was embarrassing that I need to call a friend to help with something trivial. I reminded her that I get nervous and anxious every time I touch a tool. I admitted it was stupid, but it's just the way I am, and has been very honest with her since the start. Still, she didn't change her mind. I told her that since their idea of being a man is twisted, I must share the same view and start working on being their version of a man. I told her that I will stop cooking for her. And I'll stop doing the dishes, laundry and cleaning. The only thing that I would keep doing is taking the trash out and grocery shopping. So I could focus my time and effort on becoming a man. Reactions.
Not the rude one, and I'm about to pull up with some petty shit as a woman, but you should hit her with the since I do all the housework. I've decided you make a shit woman, and you need to step up to the man or woman plate. Your choice of which, but right now you're neither. That gendered thinking is a deal breaker. Do you identify as a man, then you are man enough.
If it's wrong he doesn't know how, then it's wrong she doesn't know how. Everyone does not need to know how to fix something. Some people aren't handy or they just don't like to do it. As long as it gets done and you can afford it, or have a friend help, then what does it matter? She should know how. As a woman, knowing these things is important. She should be a responsible adult woman and know how to take care of herself. If she thinks that way, especially if he does the housework, then she should take on the fixer role. Haha.
Why would you stay with someone who speaks of you like that to their family?
And what the heck does he even bring to the table? Doesn't do chores, or cook or fix anything. She's dead weight.
Am I the rude one for tricking my in-laws into trying my food? This isn't necessarily my proudest moment, but I am tired of being the outcast. My 32 female husband Pete 34 male comes from a family where the women are all bakers. I am a baker myself and I used to sell out of my house under my state's cottage laws, but stopped because I like it just being a hobby. His sister-in-law K39 is the one who is known for her cupcakes and cake pops. When I first met everyone years ago, it was the first thing I learned. Everyone talked about everything she made. Even when Pete mentioned how good my stuff was, everyone would say, the K sells hers, and they're popular, so they must be better. Whenever I bring treats, they are often left untouched, because they are not K's. Yes, I've been told that. They ask me to bring something every get-together, and never touch it. To be clear, K is mainly a baker, whereas I bake and specialize in professionally decorated cakes. Kay says that overly decorated cakes are compensating for their bad taste, and Pete's family agrees. We had a barbecue Monday for Memorial Day, and everyone made their treats. Kay decided to bring cake pops. She posted them on her Instagram the night before. So, and I know this immature, I made the exact same ones she did, same flavor and design. We got there and everyone asked where my treats were. I said they're in car and I'll get them in a minute. So I waited for everyone to be outside, then I brought mine in and put them next to Kay's. After we eat, I noticed the family eating my cake pops and not Kay's. She didn't notice at first, and then asked if they weren't feeling cake pops. They said they just ate them and they were the best she ever made, and asked what she did different. Mother-in-law even said they look so much better in person than in the picture. Kay was confused and said hers were still on the table. That's when I said, "Oh, I brought those. Glad you enjoyed them." Her husband said he hadn't had one yet, lies, he ate two, and everyone else just said yeah, they were okay. Kay didn't say anything the rest of the night. Pete thought it was funny. He didn't know what I did until the reveal, but his brother, Kay's husband, said yesterday that what I did was mean and I'm just mad that Kay is a better baker. But Pete said it's ridiculous the family, including Kay, puts down my baking when they won't even try it all because I'm not Kay. Am I the rude one? We aren't the only two who bring desserts, just the ones who tend to bake cake more than others. Everyone else's desserts get eaten to some degree except mine. If it's not clear, everyone includes Kay. She has often tried to teach me techniques that I either already knew or were completely wrong. So she wasn't like an innocent that got caught in the line of fire or something. Reactions.
Not the rude one, but Pete's family is full of rude ones.
And liars.
But Pete seems okay.
And he has a good sense of humor.
Not the rude one. Gotta love how they said how much better it tasted when they thought Kay made it, but immediately changed their tune once the truth came out. Kay sounds like an insufferable snob when it comes to baking, and there is clear favoritism in the family, so it's high time you made your point. And thank goodness Pete had your back.
Am I the rude one for how I responded to my cousin and ruining the family's barbecue? It's a long story, but I will try to make it short. I'm 36-year-old female struggling with fertility for years and was never able to have children. My husband and I tried everything, even adoption, but our finances got damaged in 2020 and adoption is no longer within reach. I've made peace with this loss of hopes and dreams of being a mom, and have begun a new chapter where I focus on what's ahead and keep my mental health intact. I have a cousin Megan, she's 38, married with 3 kids and almost every time she sees me, brings my infertility and talk about stuff I missed out on being a mom. It stressed me out back then, but it now serves as a hurtful reminder of what could have been. She'd now talk about my hypothetical children, she even gave them names, and what they would have done / what grade they'd be in by now. My mom told her to stop it as it's become too much, but she said she was doing this to cheer me up and lift up my spirit. Trust me, it does the opposite. I was invited to BBQ by my family and Megan was there with her husband. Mom, dad, aunt and other cousins were there. We were eating while the kids were playing with the ball. Megan sighed and then turned to me and said that if I had children they'd be here with us and doing this and that very day. I stopped eating and looked at her in disbelief. Her husband smirked and said, yeah, little Timmy would be running with the ball from all the other kids right now. I was so hurt and upset I snapped. I looked at Megan and her husband and said, what do you keep talking about my hypothetical children? Are you tired of talking about yours? Megan looked shocked. Her husband said, hey, that was totally uncalled for. We had an argument and mom and aunt got involved. Megan pitched a fit saying I was being deliberately disrespectful and offended her and her family with what I said. My mom told me to apologize because it was clearly a misunderstanding. I pointed out how Megan has been doing this for some god-awful reason, knowing how I felt about it yet still kept doing it. She started crying and I went home. I told my husband and he cried. Mom called me saying making a scene at the family BBQ was over the line and said that Megan and her husband and aunt are upset because they think I snapped at them for no reason. She said I had to apologize and let it go, but I refused. Reactions.
Not the rude one. There is a term that describes your cousin and her husband. Cruel. They are cruel. Not only do they bring it up all the time, but they have made up names and an imaginary world to remind you of your pain constantly. You had every right to say something, which by all standards was tame. What awful human beings they are. In the future I would make it clear to family you will no longer tolerate any comments about your infertility at any function, and I would go low contact with your cousin. Yep, just dangling their parenting life in front of Op, and they are surprised Op had reacted to their cruel bullying. What is their end goal seriously? Op agreeing and finally tell them, quote, oh yes, my fruitless efforts are indeed something to laugh about, and dangling the hypothetical carrot in front of me works wonders for my mood per second. Not the rude one Op, although I would wonder why your mother suddenly became the peacemaker while she had your back before. That has to hurt too. Have you talked to your mother about this, Op?